Good evening, my brothers and sisters. Now, this is a very special episode. If I would say so myself, this is a very special episode, and I'm not gonna bore you with the analytics of it. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of close that out real quick. So I'm not gonna bore you with the analytics of it, but I'm gonna get straight into it. Um, Today's episode is something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and it is the effects of not having a father, being fatherless, let's say it like that, being fatherless in the black household. Okay, now, throughout this entire video, one, giving you a warning right now, trigger warning right off the bat, because I know some of y'all ain't gonna be wanting to hear what I'm saying, and it's gonna be like, oh, single black mother. Stop. We're gonna talk about them next episode, but stop. It makes no complete sense for anybody to be trying to downplay anybody else's struggle just to make themselves feel validated. So just quit right there. Quit while you're ahead, because it's not a valid argument. I'm not saying that single black men, or black men not being in the household is more of effect, has more of an effect than the woman not being in the household, or vice versa. What I'm saying is that this is an actual problem, and this is something that should be adjusted, and this kind of breeds different things that happen in the black community. So bear with me, as I am not talking about single mothers today, but I am talking about single fathers, and they are far and in between. Just want you to know, but they still are out there, and they still have to be heard. As a single father myself, I would like to be heard about my struggle. I don't personally have my kids live with me, but I do take care of them to the best of my abilities by working and doing all that I can for them. Okay? Now, the mother is still there, but how that goes. Alright, so 3 main things today. 3. And I'll make sure to put this up on the video. First, we're going to talk about the demographic, right? So we're going to talk about the percentages of black people with black houses without a father, and kind of go into a discussion on why that is, there's some reasons why it may be. Second, we're going to talk about the incarceration rate between incarceration rate in the black community being tied to the fact that the fathers aren't there. Somewhat. It's not completely like that, but it's somewhat. Third, and lastly, we're going to talk about what we can do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, how we can make amends for this. And a subplot for that is, do black men seek validation from other black men? So, with that being said, bro, we back in it. I apologize ahead of time. Been off for a minute. I'm back at it, like I said last time. But let's get into it. All right. So first, what we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about a little statistic that we possess here, and this comes directly from the data center. The Kids Count Data Center. It's the Annie E. Casey Foundation. Alright, so the latest census that they've done this in is 2017. I haven't found one for 2018 and 19, but we'll get there. Alright, so as you see, man, it's actually pretty crazy, but as you see, the number of the number of African Americans, right, without a father, and this is just kind of show you children in single parent families by race. So that means they do not have a mother, they do not have a father. So the amount of that has stayed at a constant, anywhere between 65 to 67% over pretty much the past decade. Started in 2008 when the study commenced. 6.195 million black children in America without a father or a mother. And let me tell you how kind of weird and awkward that is. So, as you know, if you've never ever had the displeasure of not having a father, this is something just not gonna be in your worldview. but for a lot of people, this is. So when you think about it, what is the purpose as a young man? What is the purpose of your dad? Right? You think about it, your dad is there to be a source of strength, to be a source of unrelenting will that pushes you to be your best on a good day. And that's something that a young man needs, no matter what race, but particularly in the black community, needs that particularly just to keep things going. Because as a black man, we look up to black people because they typically know our struggle. They know what we've been through, or if they don't personally know what we've been through, know somebody who has been through the same thing, know somebody who's been going through the same things, and know somebody who's done these things. And it's really awkward and it's really weird to try to talk about this because as of recently it has diminished a little bit, but at the same time it is one of those things that still needs to be talked about. So with the fact that for the past decade almost, the amount of black children living in a single parent household, majority of them being led by women, is really shocking to me. It's not really shocking, but it's shocking because there's two potential causes for this, right? So it's either that, and I'm not gonna get into like the third reason because this would technically be almost three, but two reasons. One, the fathers are being incarcerated at a mass rate, which is keeping them out of the children's life. Two, the father doesn't want to be in the child's life for any reason. So let's talk about these two issues. One is somewhat of likelihood that could be true, or truer than the second option, because as you've seen, I don't know. It's over the Ballpark Village. Jesus, sorry. Just over in the ballpark. Let's just kind of go by. So in 2010, there's about like 2,000 for every 100,000 black people in jail, especially black men. So let's just kind of look at that statistic real quick. Now, I probably spelled that wrong too, so I'll apologize ahead of time. But so I don't like using Wikipedia, but okay, so we're gonna go to the NAACP because they always come with some level of facts. So as again, I used this for an earlier video, I'm going to use it again. So today's population, and this article is from 2015, I do believe. So from the time between 1980 and 2015, there was a number of incarcerated Americans increased from 500,000 to over 2.2 million. With today's U.S. population, about 5% of the world's population, and it's 21% of the world's prisoners. This is a 14. Now, this is from all the way back to 2014. It may have gone down, it may have gone up. I have no idea, but I will get back to you, get back to everybody on that. I'll post it on Instagram or Twitter or whichever one sees fit. But in 2014, African Americans constituted 2.3 million, or roughly around 34% of the already 6.8 million correctional population. So, anyway, you look at it, incarceration is non-defiably how do I say this? 95%, I mean not 95, but 34% of African Americans going to jail is really kind of detrimental, because even out of that percentage, I know there's at least, I can't give this percentage, but there's a good amount of them that actually are men. So if you take the man, right, so you take the man out of the household, And I discussed this in the season 1 open, or the season 2 open. I would link that down in the description. So what you do is you take the man and you strip him of his masculinity. You completely destroy his image of masculinity, well, his little image of masculinity, in front of everybody, in front of his wife, his child, the woman he's with, whatever. Then you discard him. He's useless at this point to them. Follow along. So he's useless at this point to them. And the first thing that they're going to do is to try to teach and train the woman to teach her children how to be submissive and everything. So let's follow the same logic now. So if you incarcerate a black man, there's nobody in the household to tell him right from wrong and try to teach him from their mistakes as a man. Again, I'm not discounting women, because women make mistakes too, and they try to learn from it, try to teach their kids from it. But it's different when you're a young black boy trying to learn from your father's mistakes, because they seem to always come back to bite you. So being a young black man, your father's gone. You don't know where he's at. You typically at the age of 13, 14, you don't give a shit. You hit the streets, going to mess with thugs, whoop-de-whoop. So now you are in the same predicament that your father may have been at this age, or is right now. So now you don't know what's going on. You just know that this is what I got to do to get the ball rolling. So, end of the day, you incarcerate the fathers, or the fathers just leave. These are the two options. And let me talk about option 2. So the father just leaves, and it's not strictly because of all the time. It's not strictly because he can't handle it. It's not strictly because it's too much responsibility. And I can hear people in the comments right now, but it's mostly because, well, it's a little bit of both. Some people can't handle the fact of having children. They don't want to have that responsibility of having to take care of somebody else when they can barely take care of themselves, or their mama still taking care of them, or their girlfriend still taking care of them, and all this other stuff. And there's just kind of a mindset that they get into on a day-to-day basis that they don't want to do it. The other part of that is the woman sometimes makes it hard. So I'm not going to completely blame it on the women, because there are some women out there that don't do this. But for those who do, they keep their children away from their fathers because they don't want them to know their fathers, so they don't want them to be like their fathers, or they're just trying to hurt their fathers in general. So with that being the case, that still affects them, because now there's some level of resentment. Either way, without a father, there's some level of resentment for your father. So if your father just ups and leaves, and you're like 3 years old, you're going to resent him for the rest of your life, because you don't know how to function without them. You don't know why you're mad. You just know that you're mad. You've seen your mom your entire lifetime. He wasn't there to, and you're going to be mad at like small stuff. He wasn't there to see you to your first day of preschool. Wasn't there to see you at your homecoming dance. Wasn't there to see you at prom. Wasn't there to teach you how to tie a tie, put on the condom, or tell you this, that, and the third. But that is something that you're going to need, and it's something you're going to miss. And most people don't. And some people don't get that. I'm not even going to say most people. Some people don't get that. And this video, off topic, is going to be a personal. It's not going to be. I'm going to be looking at statistics and stuff, but it's going to be a personal one. So when that's the case, when that is something that has happened, where you don't have your father in your life for whatever reason, or how have it, it does affect you mentally. Because you need two parents to do anything. So for anybody to tell you something, you need two parents, both the mother and the father, for you to comprehend where you come from. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of show you two different perspectives, because the mother, they're naturally supposed to be more nurturing and more caring, while father's supposed to be hard and chiseled and show you how it is to be a man. I think it is, but just kind of show you that off, just kind of off basis. On the basis of, you know, being a true man, somebody who respects women to the fullest, somebody who shows a regard for everybody, a general sense of companionship and can hold everything down. Because that's like the biggest thing that happens. You find out, your dad's not coming back or whatever, and it hurts you a lot because as a black man, we need that, that level of validation, which I'm gonna talk about later, because it hits differently. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of how that is to just kind of see that the percentage of it has been in the constant 65, 67. It's it's not shocking because during this time you had a good amount of incarceration that's happening all over the United States. People now getting out, let's say around like 2013, 2014, you now have people getting out from shit they did in 2008 and 2009 just to go right back in because and that's another thing we're gonna talk about later on. So, man, you know what? I'm not even gonna go with structure this time. I'm just gonna kind of spitball it. Now, it's just because, again, having no father is, having a single father raise you is something that's really, really unheard of, if that makes sense. So, it's not something I'm going to kind of dive deep into, but I'm going to definitely be talking about kind of the effects of it. So, the general effects of the psyche is, well, the general effects that this has on a young black boy's psyche is, I don't know how to explain it in like a scientific way, but how it is when you don't have a father, you feel discouraged. You feel like as if though you lost a piece of yourself because we are all made up of half of the DNA. It's a basic breakdown: half of the DNA for our mother, half of the DNA for my father. So if you don't know your father's side of your family, you don't know the potential dangers you could be in, or how certain things that you react to, certain things that you may say, do, and kind of this whole 9 yards, kind of this whole nine. Whereas, I mean, there's not much to say on this because we all have seen it. We've all seen this single mother household that is kept up by this mother who does everything she can for these kids while the dad goes to do what he wants to, and the sons have to sit there and watch their mother struggle this entire time just to see